Hey, welcome. Thank you for joining me. One of the things that was really important to me about this video series is that it would not only help coaches who want to up their game, who want to begin working with leaders, people who are making a difference in the world in whatever field and in whatever way, to make that leap, to take that jump from I'm a coach to somebody who actually impacts people who are impacting the world, or at least their world, in a significant way. Now, when I talk about leadership, there's a quote that I love that's often attributed to Robert Kennedy, but he was actually quoting George Bernard Shaw, the playwright. And he said, some people look at things that are and say, why? I dream of things that never were, and ask, why not? And that in many ways is the essence of what it is to be a leader, to look into the world and not worry about why are things the way they are, but to dream of things the way they could be and ask why not. And that is true for you as a coach. You can look at where you are in your career and worry about why you are where you are. Or you can dream of the coaching practice that you want to have, the people that you would like to coach, the leaders you would like to impact. And why not? And that's what I want to explore with you in this video series. Hi, I'm Michael Neill, and I have been a coach and a teacher and a writer for almost 30 years now. And in that time, I've continually been trying to answer one question: why aren't we awesomer? And the truth is, if you look at what is available in terms of mind technology and biohacking and all the different things that we've discovered and learned about the human potential, why is it that for many of us, we get up every morning, we do our best, but we never get anywhere close to where we think we ought to be? And answering that question turns out to lead us in a very interesting place, because it leads us to some fundamental truths about what it is to be a human being and what it is to make full use of the gifts we've been given. One of the gifts of having been doing this for as long as I have is I've gotten to work with a lot of coaches, and I've gotten to work with them from the beginning of their careers in some cases to them being very successful, well-known coaches. But I've also gotten to join coaches at a point in their career where they'd already achieved some success, but there was a struggle. They'd kind of hit the glass ceiling. They'd plateaued. And one of the people that I was thinking of was somebody who'd achieved a level of success as a coach through what we would call fronting, through pretending, through faking it till you make it. So if you looked at their website, you would go, wow, what an amazing person. And if you looked at their biography, you'd go, oh my goodness, wow, I aspire to be like them. And then if you met them and spent more than about 10 minutes with them, the cracks started to show. And you started to see what was underneath, which was a really well-meaning, really nice, really insecure human being. And so when I began to work with them, the first thing that we wanted to do was get them to stop being positive. I don't know why that idea still is out there, that just believe in yourself. Well, I gotta tell you, I don't want a brain surgeon who believes in themselves. I want a brain surgeon who's really good at brain surgery. And I don't want a coach who believes in themselves. I want a coach who's really good at bringing out the best in me. And so the first thing that any coach has to be able to answer honestly is, am I impacting my clients? And if you are, you're on the right track. And if the answer is not really, or I'm not sure, or you feel, yeah, I am, in that kind of way where you kind of know that you're not, that's great, because that means you can start fresh. That means that when you start to understand the science of human beings, the principles behind impacting leaders, you're going to be able to grow from scratch instead of having to somehow transition from what you did before that worked. And I gotta tell you, if you're a fake it till you make it kind of person, you have no idea how relaxing it is to not have to fake it anymore. for myself, my own journey was kind of that. I was a fake it till you make it kind of guy, and I did my best, and I was always well-meaning. But one day I realized, God, I'm full of shit. And I didn't want to be full of shit. And I was so full of shit in my own mind that integrity wasn't even on the table. Like getting to 100% integrity wasn't an option. So I decided that I would just set out to be a little bit less full of shit today than I was yesterday. And I've been on that journey for about 15 years now. And I gotta tell you, it's really nice not to be full of shit. Well, I shared this with this coach, and over our work together, we worked together for about 1.5 years, and I watched them gradually put down all the great shots for their website and all the obsession with how they were coming across on social media, as they focused more on the science of coaching. Where does impact come from? What is it that actually makes a difference in the life and the performance of a client? Now, I remember sitting with them when they had an epiphany. And we'd been working together for a while at this point, and suddenly the lights came all the way on. And you could see they had an insight, and that insight changed everything. It's the thing about an insight, right? Nothing's changed in the outside world yet, but everything's different when you look out at it. And the insight that they had was where this comes from. This amazing capacity we all have inside us that's already guiding us, that's already carrying us like a wave carries a surfer. But we just don't notice a lot of the time. And so we think we're doing it through hard work. We think we're doing it through controlling our self-image. And we don't notice that we're being carried by something far deeper and far more powerful than anything that our will can produce. And that was the beginning of a fundamental change in their career and their practice. And they're now doing trainings and coaching all over the world. But it's genuine, it's real. It's now a no bullshit zone. You get a completely different kind of client when you're genuinely not full of shit, when you genuinely have something to offer, than you do when you're doing your best fake it till you make it. So I got a call from a woman who was very successful in the corporate world and wanted to make the transition to coaching, and asked if I would talk with her, and I was very happy to talk with her. And she had lots of ideas about how to do it, about how she was going to parlay her industry expertise into a sort of a coaching consulting career. But as we talked, I became really aware that she was hiding behind that expertise. That really what she felt is, I have nothing to offer but my experience. I have nothing to offer but what I've done in the past. And that would limit her going forward if that was how she went out into the world. So I worked with her on getting a deeper understanding of the principles behind the human experience, a deeper understanding of what we have inside us, what all human beings have inside them, a real-time, responsive, alive intelligence. And what gets in our way? We get caught up in our thinking, we get preoccupied with everything going on in our head, and we lose visibility on the world. And as she started to see that, the first thing that changed was her. She actually didn't start seeing a lot of clients at the beginning. She just settled into what she was seeing more and more and more. And her life and her experience of life got better and better and better. And the reason she'd originally left her job was because she was so burnt out. Well, she actually had stayed on in her job at their request for a little while, but now the burnout was gone. And when she did decide to leave the company and go full-time as a coach, it wasn't because she needed to. It wasn't because if she stayed a day longer, she was gonna have a heart attack. She was loving being at the job, but she knew that she would love helping other people even more. One of the benefits of having done this work over 3 decades now is that I've noticed that there are very predictable phases that somebody goes through as they start to wake up more to what they have inside them, and to wake up from the sort of thought-induced dream that many of us go around living inside of. And the first stage I tend to call absence of. And the reason I call it that is because nobody quite knows what's going on. They just feel a little disoriented. And I remember I've had this conversation definitely over 100 times, where somebody will come in for a session after we've worked together for a little while, and they'll go, "Hey," and I'll go, "Hi, you okay?" And they'll go, "Yeah." And I'll say, "What's wrong?" And they'll go, "Nothing." And at first it used to really throw me, but then when I'd seen it enough times, I realized that what they were experiencing is what life is like when all the noise in your head stops. What they were actually experiencing was inner quiet. What they were actually experiencing is a lack of background stress and pressure. And the thing is, we're amazingly adaptable, us human beings. We're like the proverbial frog in the boiling water, right? We've been in it for so long, we think we're having a sauna. We don't realize we're boiling ourselves to death. But when you start to understand more about how the mind works, understand more about this innate intelligence that we all have on our side, it's like somebody turned the heat off and you're just there going, what am I doing in this pot of water? Now, what happens once you get through that stage is life starts seeming incredibly magical. Coincidences start turning up. You start having serendipitous meetings. The perfect client that you've dreamed of working with calls you. All sorts, and I've got dozens of stories of things like that. It's actually 100% reliable, even if it's 98% unpredictable what form it will take. And one of my clients actually named this phase. She called it driving daddy's Ferrari. Because she said, I just feel like my life is so amazing, but I don't know why. So I'm terrified that if I do something wrong, it's gonna break. Well, if you stay with a client, if you stay with it for yourself beyond that point, you get to the stage I call owning the garage. Owning it. Where you get that it's not your creative potential. It's the infinite creative potential of the universe. And it's not going anywhere. It was here before you came along. It will be here after you're gone, which means you can't mess it up. You can't lose it. Once you wake up to it, you start to see it's always there and you relax. And somebody once sort of summed this journey into, inside out coaching, into the transformative work, the science-based, principles-based coaching that I teach. They said, really, the end result is we all just chill the fuck out. We all just completely relax. And it turns out that human beings are designed to do really well when they don't have too much on their mind and when they're able to just show up and respond to what shows up. Now, one of the questions I get all the time by coaches who are starting out on this journey is, well, what if I can't do it? What if I'm the one that doesn't have this innate creative potential, right? What if I'm the one who messes it up? I know me, and I've messed things up in the past, and I've tried this and I've tried that. There are only 3 ways that it is even possible to fail at anything in life. And the first is you don't start. I guarantee you, if you don't start, you won't get there, right? I think it was Michael Jordan who said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Now, the second way that you can fail is you stop before you get there. So if you're on a journey to mastery, and if you've been listening to me for this long, I assume you are on a journey to mastery as a coach. Maybe a journey to mastery as a human being, maybe a journey to mastery as a leader. Well, then the only way you can fail at that is if you stop before you're a master. Now, you might have really good sounding reasons for why you stop, but if you don't stop, you will get there. And then the third way that people can fail is they run out of time. But when it comes to mastery, when it comes to the journey to impacting leaders, you can't run out of time until time's up on everything. And there's nothing any of us can do about that one. So effectively, one of the stories that I sometimes tell is an old teaching story from the Zen tradition called the Room of 1,000 Demons. And the story behind the Room of 1,000 Demons is that in ancient times, every 100 years, the Room of 1,000 Demons would open up that would offer monks a shortcut to enlightenment. it would offer them a path that if they could get through the room of 1,000 demons, they would be enlightened and their life would be forever changed. Now, as you might imagine, the room of 1,000 demons was a room with about 1,000 demons in it. And they were given two pieces of advice when they would enter the room. And the first piece of advice was, know that everything that you see and hear and feel is a projection of your own mind, a projection of your own thoughts, a projection of your own imagination. And the second piece of advice was, whatever you think is going on, keep your feet moving and you'll come out the other side. And that is the only piece of advice I would have to you on this journey is begin. Know that all those dark and scary things that you see when you take your eyes off the direction that you're headed in are projections of your own mind, projections of your own thinking. And stay in the game, stay in the conversation, keep your feet moving, and you will get to a level of mastery that right now you probably can't even imagine. One of the fun things about having been doing this for as long as I've been doing it is I've gotten the chance, especially over the last 15 years or so, to train thousands of coaches in doing this work. And one of the wonderful things about that is as coaches start to wake up to the fact that it's not about them, it's not about them being amazing and being brilliant and being experts. It really is as simple as sitting down with another human being, opening your heart to them, listening, asking them questions, and pointing them towards what they already have inside them, and showing them how the only thing that's holding them back are the projections of their own thought. Not only do the coaches change as human beings and open up and find their way in the world more easily, but they start to get as excited by the progress of their clients as they are by the progress in their own career. And in the next video, I'm going to be sharing with you a program that I've developed specifically to share the science of transformative coaching, the science of impacting leaders in a way that you can learn it step by step. You can learn it systematically. You can begin to play with it in your own life. You can begin to play with it with your clients. And your journey and your client's journey, you'll be racing each other to the top. And in the comments section below, what I'd love you to share is, wouldn't it be cool if? So I just want you to start with that sentence. Wouldn't it be cool if ... And I want you to answer that question. Wouldn't it be cool if I was able to sit down with anyone and make a real difference? Wouldn't it be cool if I could coach Bill Gates? Wouldn't it be cool if I could coach my favorite football team? Wouldn't it be cool if I could coach my neighbor who's a really nice guy and has great ideas but never does anything? Wouldn't it be cool if I could go into a huge corporation and coach their leadership team and make a real tangible difference with them? Wouldn't it be cool if ... And answer that question in as many ways as come to mind.